AITA for being upset that my parents are using my secret wedding fund to pay for my brother's grad school without ever telling me it existed. Hey Reddit, I need some perspective because I'm honestly still reeling from this whole mess with my family, and I can't tell if I'm being unreasonable or if I have a right to be pissed. This is gonna be a long one, so bear with me. I'm trying to lay it all out so you get the full picture. For context, I'm a 30-year-old woman, been financially independent for years, and I've been grinding to build a stable life. My younger brother, 22M, is crazy smart and just got into a super prestigious grad program, but now my parents are making decisions that have me feeling blindsided, hurt, and honestly kind of betrayed. Here's the story. I've always been the practical one in my family. Growing up, my parents were pretty clear that once we hit 18, we were expected to figure things out for ourselves. They weren't cruel about it or anything. They'd let me live at home rent-free during college, and they helped with stuff like groceries or gas when I was really strapped, but they made it known that big expenses like tuition or cars were on us. My dad would always say, "We're not rich, so you've got to work for what you want." Fair enough, I thought. I wasn't a stellar student like my brother, but I worked hard, got decent grades, and managed to get through college with a mix of scholarships, part-time jobs, and some student loans. College was rough for me. I was working close to full-time as a server at a diner near campus, pulling late shifts and still trying to keep up with classes. I'd come home smelling like fryer grease, barely able to stay awake to finish assignments. I graduated with a business degree, which I picked because it seemed practical, not because I was passionate about it. I thought about grad school, maybe an MBA or something to give me an edge, but the cost was insane, and I didn't have any savings. My parents never offered to help, and I didn't ask because, well, I'd internalized their whole stand on your own thing. So I let that dream go and focused on getting a job. Fast forward to now. I've been working in marketing for a decent company for the last 6 years. It's not glamorous, but it pays well enough, and I finally paid off my student loans last year. That was a huge moment for me. I threw myself a little private celebration with a bottle of cheap wine and a pizza because I was so proud of getting that weight off my shoulders. Now, I'm starting to save for a house. It's slow going because I live in a city with a ridiculous housing market, but I've got a plan. I'm stashing away every extra penny, cutting back on stuff like eating out or vacations, and I'm finally starting to feel like I'm getting somewhere. It's not much, but it's mine, you know? Now, let's talk about my brother. He's honestly a rock star. He's one of those people who just gets things, math, science, you name it. He got a full academic scholarship to a great state school, worked his butt off, and graduated with honors in December. I'm so proud of him it's not even funny. We've always been close, even with the age gap. When he was a kid, I'd help him with his homework or sneak him extra snacks when mom wasn't looking. He's a good guy, not entitled at all, and he's always been grateful for what he has. So when he got accepted into this super prestigious grad program, one of those schools where just having the name on your resume opens doors, I was over the moon for him. It's a big deal, and he deserves it. Here's where things get messy. This grad program is in one of the most expensive cities in the country. We're talking sky-high tuition plus living costs that make my eyes water. My brother was hoping for scholarships or a paid internship to cover most of it, but the aid package he got wasn't enough. He'd still need to cover a chunk of tuition and housing, and even with loans, it's a stretch. A few weeks ago, my parents called me to talk about it. They were super proud of him, as they should be, but then they dropped this bomb. They asked if I could chip in about $15,000 to help cover his first year. I was stunned. Like, jaw on the floor stunned. I asked them why they thought I'd have that kind of money just lying around. I mean, I'm doing okay, but $15,000 is almost my entire house down payment fund. I told them I couldn't do it. I've been working toward my own goals for years, and I'm not in a place to put that on hold. I tried to be gentle about it because I didn't want to sound like I don't care about my brother, but I had to be honest. I said I'd turned down opportunities like grad school because I didn't have help, and it didn't feel fair to ask me to derail my plans now. They seemed disappointed but didn't push too hard at first. Then my mom got frustrated and said, "Well, if you're not going to help, we'll just have to use your other fund." I had no idea what she was talking about, so I pressed her. She got all flustered and said they'd set aside about $25,000 for me back when I was in college. Apparently, it was meant for a future wedding. A wedding. I'm not engaged, not in a serious relationship, and frankly, I'm not even sure marriage is in my plans anytime soon. I was completely blindsided. I asked why they never told me about this money when I was drowning in student loans or when I was thinking about grad school. My mom said, it was always for a wedding, not school or anything else. Since you haven't needed it, we thought it made sense to use it for your brother's education. It's a more immediate need. I'm not gonna lie, I saw red. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. They had $25,000 sitting there for a hypothetical wedding I might never have, but they didn't think to mention it when I was working 60-hour weeks to pay for college? Or when I was eating instant noodles to save for a down payment? I told them I felt hurt and left out, like my goals didn't matter. My mom got defensive and said I was being unfair. She said the money was never promised to me, so I shouldn't be upset. She also said that helping my brother was for the family and that I was being selfish for making it about me. My dad stayed quiet during most of this, which is typical, he doesn't like conflict. I called my brother later to get his side. He swore he didn't know about the wedding fund either until my mom mentioned it. He said he felt awful that it was causing drama and that he never asked for my money specifically. He just thought we were all trying to pitch in to make his grad school happen. He sounded so guilty that I ended up reassuring him, which made me feel even worse. Like, I'm mad at my parents, not him, but now I'm stuck in this weird position where I feel like the bad guy. Here's the thing, I get that my brother's grad program is a huge opportunity. I want him to succeed, and I know he's worked hard for this. But I can't shake the feeling that my parents are punishing me for being practical. I didn't go to grad school because I couldn't afford it. I paid off my loans through years of grinding. I've been saving every cent for a house because I want some stability after all this. And now I find out there was this secret fund that could have changed my life, but it's being redirected because I didn't follow some unspoken script about getting married? It feels like a slap in the face. Update, a few weeks later. Okay, so a lot has happened since I first wrote this, and I wanted to add an update because I got some really helpful comments on the original post, not actually posted, but you know what I mean. Thanks to everyone who pointed out why this situation hit such a nerve, it helped me process a lot. I don't want to cut my parents out over this. They're not perfect, but they've done a lot for me. They let me live at home during college, which saved me a ton, and they were always there for me growing up, helping with homework, cheering me on at school events, all that stuff. I wasn't a natural student like my brother, so they spent a lot of time helping me stay on track. This situation sucks, but it doesn't erase the good things. Mother's Day was awkward as hell. I went over for brunch, and as soon as I tried to bring up the money, my mom shut it down with, "I don't want another fight to ruin today." I felt like I couldn't even talk about it, so I left early. It was tense, and I cried in my car on the way home because I felt so dismissed. We finally had a real talk this past weekend, and it cleared some things up, but it wasn't easy. My brother reached out separately. He said he had no idea about the wedding fund until I brought it up, and he felt terrible that it was causing so much tension. He's actually rethinking grad school now. He said it might be smarter to get some work experience first, especially since he applied to MBA programs and jobs while finishing undergrad. He graduated early in December and got into this program, but now he's leaning toward deferring and focusing on job applications. I told him I'd help with his resume and interview prep because I want him to know I'm still in his corner. He's a good kid, and I don't want him to feel like this is his fault. He also told me our parents had mentioned I might help with the costs, which was news to me. He'd planned to pay me back eventually, but he realized it'd take years since he wouldn't be earning much during grad school. That's part of why he's reconsidering. I appreciated his honesty, but it made me even madder at my parents for putting him in that position. When I talked to my parents, things got heated again. My mom said I was being bitter and that my brother shouldn't have to give up an amazing opportunity just because I was upset. That stung. I told her I wasn't bitter, I was blindsided. Finding out about a $25,000 fund in a conversation where I'm being asked to fork over $15,000 of my own money is a lot to process. I explained that I'd turned down grad school and other opportunities because I thought there was no help available. Knowing there was money set aside, even for something specific like a wedding, would have changed how I planned my life. My dad finally spoke up during this talk. He said that after I was born, he started saving for what he pictured as my dream wedding. It was a sentimental thing for him. He grew up in a family where weddings were a big deal, and he wanted that for me. When my brother was born, they did the same for him, setting aside money for a wedding or family expenses. Neither of us knew about these funds. They only considered using my brother's fund for grad school when his scholarships fell short, and after I said no to contributing, they decided to use both funds to cover the gap. They figured they'd replenish mine later if I ever got engaged. I get why it made sense to them, but it still feels unfair. A lot of you pointed out that this setup feels kind of sexist, even if it wasn't intentional. It's hard not to feel like they expected me to get married while my brother was expected to achieve big things academically. I don't think they meant it that way, but that's how it landed. I told them that, and my dad actually apologized for not telling me about the fund sooner. He said they didn't want me to count on money that wasn't guaranteed, but he sees now how keeping it a secret hurt me. My mom didn't fully agree. She still thinks I'm making too big a deal out of it, but she listened, which is something. Things aren't perfect, but they're better. My brother and I are good. He knows I'm rooting for him, and I'm helping him polish his resume. My parents and I are still navigating this, but I feel like they're starting to get why I was so upset. I just needed to feel like my path mattered too, you know? I've spent my whole adult life making practical choices because I thought I had to, and finding out there was this safety net I didn't know about, it's a lot to process. So, Reddit, aita for being upset about this? I know my brother's grad school is a big deal, and I don't want to hold him back, but I can't help feeling like my parents played favorites by keeping this fund a secret and then redirecting it without even talking to me. My friends are split. Some say I'm right to be mad, others think I'm being petty because the money wasn't mine to begin with. What do you think?